How the dream started is more like, just kind of like fades in. Like, I can just suddenly see myself running along down some destroyed streets and buildings and everything, sort of, if you've seen in the images in like World War II or anything like that, you know, destroyed buildings, especially in like Germany and pretty much just anywhere that the war had taken place at, anything that was destroyed and bombardments and everything like that. You know, there are some buildings that were still standing, but most were crumbled or completely gone or destroyed. I don't entirely remember how I had gotten there. I just know that I was with a group of like 5 other people, which I had assumed we were in a squad. We had started running up to this church that I had seen that we had to set up like sort of like a forward operating base, they would call it. And we were also looking for something. I don't know if it was a person. I can't say it was a person because it was more like we were trying to search for something, but it wasn't a person. But anyways, it was something important. So me and the 5 other guys, we were going up it was like a long staircase up to this church. And I can just remember as we bust through the front doors of the church, half of us break off. One takes one side of the church, and I take the left side of the church. And as we're going down, we're clearing out the halls and everything, and I distinctly remember that one of the weapons I was equipped with was an MG42, which is one of my more favorite weapons of the World War II era. And we were just clearing out the hallways of enemies and just trying to make it to the main hall of the church, you know, where everybody sits down, prays, and, you know, you have a guy at the altar, you know, speaks and does all that stuff. I'm not really a religious person myself. I mean, kind of as of recently, I've kind of delved more into it, but I'm still kind of on the fence on it. I still believe there's a God that exists, or the possibility of a God that exists, but, oh, hold on one second. Sorry, someone came into my room. So yeah.
That's okay. Go ahead.
So we're clearing out the halls and everything. I look outside one of the broken windows, and I could see that there were more people charging us, so I mount up and clear out those guys as the guy that had followed me down the left hall finishes clearing out the rest of the hall that we had gone down. We eventually make it to the main hall of the church and clear out that room, and what we were looking for wasn't there. How I knew that was just based off everybody's reaction and my own reaction. Like, I still didn't know what exactly we were looking for, but what we were looking for we couldn't find. And then soon enough, there's air raid sirens that can be heard off in the distance, and they get louder and louder. I look up, and this church is also pretty badly beaten up, has been, you know, hit by maybe artillery, but it hasn't been completely destroyed. It's still standing fairly decently. I look up, and I can see through, like, flak fire and I'm pretty sure lightning, silhouettes of bombers, and before I knew it, everything went black, and then I woke up, lifted my head up, and I'm in a golden church hall, sitting in one of the many seats that are there, more like benches. There were my members of the squad, and then a few other people I don't recognize. And then, of course, somebody at the podium. I wouldn't say the person at the podium is God or anything like that, but somebody who was explaining to us the next sequence of events that needed to take place in order for whatever to happen. 2 people I remember got called up to that podium, and they seemed pretty ecstatic of what was going on. And after he finishes speaking with them, I had kind of kept my head down for most of the duration just because I don't know. I just didn't really feel like keeping my head up too much. I just kind of wanted to keep down and just be like, okay, well, whatever happens, happens, which is kind of how my motto has been throughout most of my life is whatever happens, happens. So anyways, he starts explaining to the rest of us how some of us are going to be sent back down who have survived the explosion, but some of us are going to be dead. And we'll pretty much come back and just kind of watch over the people who had survived, sort of like guardian angels, but not entirely sure how that works. I just know that eventually we got sent back down. I wake up back on the church grounds. The church was pretty much completely gone. And I could see my squad mates getting back up after the explosion, mostly unharmed. Nobody took any serious injuries. And I, start walking around, and I found my body laying impaled on a piece of rebar. Like, it wasn't all the way down. It was like kind of hanging halfway. Like my body was impaled halfway down the rebar, impaled through my right chest, and dead, pretty much. My squad mates pretty much had seen it. They said their dues, and they were on their way because they had to make haste because they had the memory of speaking with whoever it was and knowing that they had a mission to complete. So at that point, I had just followed them, and as I was following them, keep in mind too, when I had came to, in a sense, it was daytime, the skies were clear mostly, the sun was just rising, and as everybody was moving on, the light just kind of got brighter and brighter, and then I had woken up. And that's pretty much most of what I remember.